genre.
In the world of Hollywood, movies get greenlit and redlit. They get remade and rebooted. But we are the ideal. I'm Sam Gasch, and you are listening to Ideal Remake. Thank you for listening to Ideal Remake. We take movies that either have been, will be, or should be remade and talk about what the ideal version of that remake would be. Today we're discussing the legend of the Great Remake podcast. Now, is that podcast this one? Some say it is so. And joining me to discuss how many times in one film the song Kung Fu Fighting can be played is Semien Agaby. So, Semien, is Beverly Hills Ninja a movie that has been, will be, or should be remade?
It should be remade. It never has been, to my knowledge.
Not as far as I know.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's an original IP, and they've not remade it yet. But I think after this episode they might.
I feel like for whatever reason, Chris Farley movies are one of those things that they're like, no, not yet.
I think it's because so many of his films were catered to him as an actor.
Very much so.
You know? So it's like, if you don't have that kind of larger-than-life, robust, like, physical, comedic genius actor that, you know, Chris Farley was, it's kind of hard to, like, then rebuild it. But you also don't want someone who's, like, a parody.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Like, you can't look for, like, the modern-day Chris Farley because that A, that doesn't exist, and B, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's Jack Black?
That is so funny because he was the first person that I thought of when I initially thought of, like, who would be, like, a great Chris Farley, like, actor.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Jack Black. Like, he just has that, like...
Jack Black, I think, is older than Chris Farley would be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was 33 when he passed. I looked that up just recently.
I
so
did too.
It's like, yeah. But no, yeah. Jack Black was my initial go-to. But then I was like, okay, if we don't build this around a specific actor and instead focus on the actual storyline, I think that opens it up a lot more. And just because I think it is like a kind of a fun, interesting concept that can be played around with.
Agreed.
You know?
But before we get into that, Semien, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are we listening to talk about Beverly Hills Ninja today?
Oh my gosh.
I think that's how that sentence is supposed to work.
Yes, I think you said it enough so that people can understand correctly. Yeah, no, you did. I understood.
Great.
Well, I am an aspiring TV writer. I have been working in entertainment for about almost 5 years now, and I just got into my first room last year.
Congratulations.
Can I say it or?
I don't know if you're allowed to say it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm allowed to say it. I just didn't know.
Yeah, please, by all means.
I'm a support staff position in a new show called Average Joe that's going to be on BET and BET Plus, working for our showrunner, who is Rob Cullen, who wrote it on spec, sold it, and it's just like this really cool show. It's kind of dark. It has some like dark comedy in there. It's drama. It's action, and it's different than anything BT's ever done. So I'm really excited.
That is inherently exciting. You should be excited about that. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And so then the obvious follow-up is, how did you first see Beverly Hills Ninja?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so as a kid, I was obsessed with television and movies, and this was... I mean, I grew up in the 90s. Blockbuster was like the place to be Friday, you know? Or Thursday. You get better deals.
Good that you mentioned Blockbuster specifically, but continue.
Okay. So no, I was that kid that would rewatch movies all the time. If we rented something from Blockbuster, I would, you know, if we had it for 2 or 3 days, I would watch it like 5-6 times. And I just loved comedy. I don't remember who in my family got it. It might have been my dad. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was the funniest movie ever. And I watched it so many times throughout my life. And Chris Farley, of course, as I got older and started watching SNL and like his other movies, Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, it was like, I love this guy. He's so crazy.
That's fun. Yeah. So when you described, so we met on the picket line.
Yes.
This episode's going to be coming out in 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know. I got to look at the calendar. Okay. When you were talking about doing this movie, like you described the movie to me and I had no recollection of this movie existing at all. I was like, oh, weird, it's a Chris Farley movie I've never heard of. And then I went home and looked at the poster and I just got hit in the face with waves of nostalgia of just seeing like rows of this movie at every single Blockbuster I ever stepped in ever. Yes. So for people listening right now, there's a distinct possibility that some of you who are listening just kind of saw the episode, download, started listening, whatever. And there's some of you who like were directed from like the social medias where I post posters. If you haven't looked at the poster for this movie, Google the poster for this movie, and you too will be hit by waves of nostalgia, being like, oh, yeah, that exists. Oh, my God.
Yes.
It's the most blockbuster movie ever.
Yes.
And for that alone, of course we have to talk about it.
Yes, we have to. And in case anybody wants a description, doesn't have their phone, well, you probably have your phone on you if you're listening to this.
You might be driving.
Yes. But just because it was the picture where Chris Farley was wearing a white gi and he's doing like a Van Damme split up in the air, punching the like sunset colors, like orange.
Yeah.
Sky. It was crazy. It's such a recognizable poster.
It is. Honestly, I think that the poster outlasts the movie.
Really?
I mean, there's some cases where like, it's like, this is it. This is the poster. But like, yeah. But like, I've mentioned the movie to enough people that they're like, oh yeah, the Chris Farley movie. Like, yes. Oh my God, that's amazing. How can you do anything to it? I'm like, well, just wait, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I watched that for the first time on Friday, and it is wild.
Yes.
Liu Kang is there. It's a whole thing.
Yes. Oh my God, Robin Shaw. Can I just say he was fine, and I'm sure he's still as attractive as back then. But like that head of hair. Done. Oh my God. Well, yeah.
I associate him with the hair.
The hair was fantastic.
I'm looking this up.
Dude, I feel like, and it's funny because if you watch like Jackie Chan's old movies too, especially Drunken Master, he has a very similar head of hair. I think that was just like the haircut for East Asian men back then, and it was just like,
it might be.
I need that to come back, okay? Because that luscious like head of like.
Were you there on the picket line that one day when that dude showed up? And
yes.
We were just like, well, this guy's
who had that hair?
Who had that hair?
He had that hair,
and we were just like, this guy. God. Conditions.
Yes. And like as a black woman, like I know how irritating it can be when people ask you, can I touch your hair? But I really wanted to just put my hands through his flowing locks. It was fantastic.
So the actor's name is Robin Shou.
Shou, sorry.
And I don't know how it's pronounced.
Oh, I thought it was Shou.
It might
like
be
Shou.
Yeah,
Shou,
it could go either way,
listeners.
and I certainly don't know.
Yeah.
There's 3 projects in development: City of Angels, Dead Mule Suitcase, and Kung Fu Cowboy.
Oh, okay.
I've heard of 2 of those. I've heard of City of Angels and Kung Fu Cowboy, and Dead Mule Suitcase sounds wild. And it was an associate producer in post-production on something called Prey of Wrath. So he is still doing things sporadically, because the last like finished production, like past film and video, that the last one is 2015. So I don't know what he's been doing since 2015, but it could very easily mean that he's been doing things not in the United States.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't know how big of a star he is abroad.
Yeah, and IMDb Pro is not great about doing things abroad. Oh wait, TV. Nope, TV goes back even further.
No. And it makes me wonder, it probably was like a matter of opportunity, you know, if you weren't doing like martial arts things, it's not like there was much for you as an Asian male actor, but my God, did he have leading man potential, because he was fine.
Yeah, he's very, like
so attractive.
You can't, like, if he was in stuff now, everyone would be like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy in some movies.
Yeah. He could have been a rom-com lead. I would have wanted him to be in a rom-com.
I mean, none of these are rom-coms. These are like
Dude, Asian men didn't get to do like rom-coms back then.
No, it's still hard.
But I mean, Crazy Rich Asians definitely like changed things and like got us going towards that direction.
I've heard a complaint that like unless it's a movie starring primarily an Asian cast, like it's harder to do just like an individual person within an otherwise white cast. It's just, which is weird, and it shouldn't be, but we're here to fix stuff like that on this podcast.
Yes.
Says the white dude.
Ally, says the ally.
Sure. I'll do my best as we record on Juneteenth.
Yes, is that specifically why you asked me to come here?
It's not.
I need a black female up in here.
Look, I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt, but but it is very much something I'm conscious of in this moment.
I think it would be offensive if we were like, let's recast, Color Purple, like, but
yeah, that would be a problem.
But it's like, and then trying to like not
and
make
let
it
me turn this piece of paper over and tell you what that cast is. So in the lead role,
that's coming
Dakota
out though,
Fanning.
Right? Yeah, oh God. And Christian Bale plays Sir.
I'm gonna change the subject.
Just edit this part out.
No. No, this part stays.
Okay.
I'd say I needed to keep me humble, but when people describe me, they don't describe me as a massive ego in the first place.
Okay.
So Beverly Hills Ninja.
Beverly Hills Ninja, yes.
So the basic plot of this movie is that there is a legend of an outsider coming to this clan of ninja, and he's destined to be among the greatest of them or something.
Mm-hmm, the Great White Ninja.
Yeah, the Great
White Ninja.
So he describes himself as the Great White Ninja, but the legend says an outsider.
Okay.
So
Good.
That means we can cast someone not white.
Copy.
Which is certainly what I have.
Yes.
And so, but it's Chris Farley, and so like they show like this orphan baby shows up from a ship that sank, and it's Chris Farley, and then as he grows up, they like have a kid, and as he grows up, it's just him being bad at everything, just really Chris Farleying it up. Mm-hmm. And then what happens?
And then a beautiful leggy blonde walks in, played by Nicolette Sheridan, and she asks him for help. She thinks her boyfriend is into some shady business, and she needs basically a ninja to find out what's going on and help her out. And she gives him a fake name. She goes by the name of Allison. No, Sally Jones.
Sally Jones.
Sally Jones is her name. And while Haru... So Chris Farley takes this on because he's like super attracted to her, and
his name is Haru in the movie.
Yeah, Haru. And while like investigating, a man is murdered by her boyfriend, and Haru, the blame is potentially put on the ninja school.
Correct.
Ninja.
In order to feel important and in order to impress the leggy blonde, Chris Farley agrees to do this thing that he has no business doing, and he kind of just like is like. He speaks to his sensei and is like, I know you say I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. And also, my God, she's so pretty, which is like a weird theme in this movie. And it's very, it's very guilty of a lot of the like kind of tropes of not even movies of the time. It still happens where it's like, first woman I've ever seen. And also, well, I'm going to go do this and win the lady. Mm-hmm. Haru can't find anything about this Sally Jones. Like, he can't find any record of her. The rest of the ninjas can't find her, and they're like, she lied to you, man. Like, clearly this is fake. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go to Beverly Hills because I have this thing that I got off the dead guy that tells me to go to Beverly Hills, and that's what I'm gonna do. She needs my help. I'm going. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, all right, fine, whatever, go. And Robin Shu is kind of told to go assist him in secret because the last thing the ninjas want is this ninja going and besmirching their name. Mm-hmm. So they're off to Beverly Hills.
And that's where he meets Chris Rock, who is playing a bellboy at the hotel that Haru stays in. And from there, the adventures begin. He's like going to different places, trying to piece together what's going on, like where Sally Jones is, and he eventually does find her.
No, he does not. Gobei, his brother does.
Okay, yes. Yeah, Gobei. So he's being an idiot. So Haru's being an idiot, and of course going about it all wrong. Gobei's in the shadows, leading him the right direction, and like making it so that he like finds what he needs.
And he's in different disguises throughout the whole thing, and every single time his disguise was delightful. Yeah. Every single time, without exception, Gobei's disguises were top tier.
Yes.
Like, he was disguised as, like, one of those statues on Crescent in Beverly Hills. It was so good. And then, like, when he's disguised in drag at the,
Is it the strip club?
No, he wasn't at the strip. Well, he was at the strip club, but he, like, did different things. But I can't think of the type of restaurant where they cook the food in front of you.
Oh, yeah, like the Benihana's?
Thank you, Benihana.
Yeah.
Like, the whole scene in the Benihana is incredible. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so basically, it's Chris Farley's fumbling his way through everything, and he kind of, like, finds out more about what's going on. Allison's boyfriend, Martin Tanley, has half of these plates in order to counterfeit money, but he needs the other half of the plates in order to counterfeit the back of the money, and, like, there's a whole gang war about it, and all that's just kind of, like, happening in the meantime while Chris Farley is bumbling his way to, like, figuring stuff out, and Allison Page, which is her real name, does not want him there.
No. Because she had... Are we allowed to, like, tell the whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so because she had ulterior motives, right?
She did.
She was actually trying to find out who killed her sister. Or she believed her current boyfriend killed her sister, right? And she was like trying to find some evidence that would capture him, or so she could turn him over.
She put herself in deep cover in order to avenge her sister.
Yes. So this is actually quite a feminist movie. If you think about it, the only female character in the movie was not looking for love or a man. She was trying to find revenge.
And yet, she didn't accomplish anything on her own. Tricked a guy into doing it, accepted his help, became a damsel in distress, and then ended up with the guy who rescued her.
Yes.
She was the damsel in distress in the trophy. I would not describe this as a feminist movie.
That's how women did things back in the 90s. And think about Little Mermaid, right? Like, she didn't kill Ursula. Eric did that. She got him to help her out.
The fact that Ursula is in that movie makes Little Mermaid a far more feminist movie than Beverly Hills Ninja.
The fact that there is 2 women in there, period, yeah.
But Beverly Hills Ninja is a lot of things. Feminist, not one of them. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's
absolutely not. Not letting me get away with that.
I can acknowledge the truth. Go ahead.
But yeah, it's they kung fu fight their way, despite the fact that ninjutsu and like kung fu and they have kung fu fight. How many times do you think the song "Kung Fu Fighting" is in this movie?
Oh man, including like the beat that.
I don't know.
Everybody was wait, no, that was a different. Wow, hold on, you need you to take that part out.
Yeah, what you're referencing is the song "Turning Japanese."
Yeah,
which
because
is a different song.
But that was in
that was in the
movie. Okay, yeah, that's not just me being offensive.
No, not specifically being offensive, just kind of broadly.
No, yeah, no, yeah. I think that was in the movie at least 3 times?
I counted 3.
It
was 3 different versions of the song, but it was in the movie 3 times.
Yes.
Which is wild.
That was probably the purpose of that movie, so they could like feature that song more.
Absolutely. Yeah. They had a deal with
Carl Douglas, I think, was the guy who sung it, but I could be wrong. Is it Carl Douglas?
Yeah.
Yes!
Well done.
I've only heard that song like a million times.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Which, you know what's funny? Because you know how they use it in almost every single martial arts movie?
Yes.
And Kung Fu Panda is probably one of my favorites. But that one, if you think about it, Kung Fu Panda is almost Beverly Hills Ninja, but with like a deeper character development and like thematics. And,
an argument could be made that Beverly Hills Ninja, the only remake, is Kung Fu Panda, where Kung Fu Panda is played by Jack Black.
Yeah.
So it is pretty close.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly similar arc.
Yeah.
The only thing that Kung Fu Panda is missing that Beverly Hills Ninja has is a honeypot. The honeypot is the attractive person that goes, is like, will you do this? And it's like, oh yes, of course, I will do this thing, attractive person, for sure.
I did not realize that was called the honeypot.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know where that term originates. But it's like you get your hand trapped in the honeypot. It's because you get drawn in by the.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that's
like a Winnie the Pooh, maybe.
Kind of.
That was probably where it originated from.
I don't know. Trying to think about it.
Okay.
But Chris Farley's kind of a creep the whole movie. Like he kind of creeps on Allison Page the whole movie, and then there's a scene in a strip club where he just like completely goes full creepy guy, just being like, yeah, oh my god, look at all of these sexy ladies.
You know, it's funny, I didn't take it as him being a creep, because if you think about it, he's a mid-20s male. He'd never seen a woman before.
Yeah. And
he saw boobs, and they were in front of him, and they were dancing. I'm like, I understand the fascination. I feel like
potentially, but if he's a mid-20s male who's never seen a woman before, I feel like a lot of male interest in boobs is potentially conditioned just because we're told boobs are attractive. Where if he grew up for 25 years without being told that boobs are attractive, why on earth would he think that? Other than the fact that all of those women are clearly attractive, good for them, slay. But like, it's one of those things of like, what are like a lot of people's sense of like attraction is like societally driven. But, like, it's all of a sudden he sees a woman for the first time in Allison Page, and it's just, and I can see him immediately falling in love, because, like, oh my god. Just, like, his brain being like, yes, this, that one, go, yes.
Another white. Sorry.
I mean, fair. I will say...
Because there were no other white people in that movie except for him. So I can imagine.
Up until that point.
Up until that point.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, in his life.
Yes.
In his life, yeah.
I will say that one of my favorite jokes in this movie is the moment where he's talking to Chris Rock in Beverly Hills, and he's like, of course I'm going to be able to find Allison Page. How many attractive blondes could there be in Beverly Hills? As 4 different attractive blonde background people walk past behind him.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You know what I just realized, though? He's probably never seen a black person in his entire life. Like, at least for a white person, he'd like, and blonde hair, he had like the reflection.
That's true.
Wow. Look at that.
And he just...
Racism is taught, people.
Well, that's definitely true. Because he's like, oh, hey, Chris Rock, of course you can take my bags, and then of course we'll become friends. Why wouldn't we be? Well, no, not friends.
He became like his mentor.
He did. Like, Chris Rock was like the first person, I think, in Haru's life who's like, oh, man, you're so cool. And Haru's like, fuck yeah. I am cool. Let me tell you about all the different ways I'm cool.
Yep.
Like, he has this whole setup of, like, he's chasing a chicken around. It's like, eventually you'll be able to, like, snap a man's head. By just twisting his neck. And it's like, oh my god, how will you learn how to do that? Well, you have to start with chickens. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. But then, like, all of that's set up, and I was expecting it to pay off at the end of the movie when, like, Chris Rock walks in and, like, some bad guy, and Chris Rock just snaps his neck. And that never happened. And part of me was like, I wanted that a little bit. Because it's like, I want this, like, big moment of, like, oh, Chris Rock is cool. He did the thing.
Yeah.
But no.
Can we just talk about how the training should have been done at his house, but instead he brought a chicken to work? Like, he was in a Beverly Hills hotel.
That's true.
Chasing a chicken.
He did bring a chicken to work.
That's how you know there were no black people producing, writing, or directing this movie. Because there's no way, in a very predominantly, like, white space, he's not going to be the black guy that brings a chicken to work. Come on, people. That doesn't make no sense.
That's probably fair.
That's fine. But
I agree.
I'm joking.
No, I'm sure you're right.
I'm also joking, but
but also that's a good point.
He brought a chicken to work. Like, he should have trained at home, but maybe like he didn't have the time and space.
So
who knows?
Haru was able to like rent a room in this, like, because they wanted the whole section of the movie to take place in Beverly Hills. So Haru had to be able to rent a room in Beverly Hills, and like he gets there, and the person at the desk.
Oh yeah, the not receptionist, but the front desk person.
Concierge.
Okay, yeah.
We got there. Yeah. The concierge was like, we are booked. We're a Beverly Hills hotel. What do you think is? And then Haru's like, but do you accept gold? And then like tips gold coins out on the desk, and the dude's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought that was very funny, and I have a joke to pitch about that later.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure I brought that up, but it's like I would have suggested that like he isn't able, like, if I didn't have this joke to pitch later, I'd have suggested that he tries to stay at this Beverly Hills hotel, can't, and then somehow ends up sleeping on Chris Rock's couch. And then that way you get to have Chris Rock at home attempting to kill a chicken. Because, like, I'll be honest, the first room I lived in when I moved to LA was in Beverly Hills, but it's not the kind of Beverly Hills you think of. And I literally was renting a room in a 3-bedroom apartment where I shared that room when I first moved in with a 75-year-old woman and a 50-year-old woman.
Wow.
It was not glamorous.
But I would assume you watched a lot of great classic TV. But that's...
What do you base that on?
Well, 75 and 50, I'm assuming the kind of TV shows they like to watch were from, like, you know...
Oh, we didn't hang out.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes... Yeah, I guess that's fair. That tracks. Okay. I don't know.
I mean, the 50-year-old woman was only there for, like, another year-ish after that. And then she moved out. And then after she moved out, all the other neighbors were like, no, we have to tell you how crazy she was. And I was like, what? No one told me at the time.
Okay.
And apparently, the answer was quite. And then, like, 6 months after that, a buddy of mine from college moved in, who I played tennis with this morning.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird. So we have the movie as it exists. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask, what are the things in Beverly Hills Ninja as it exists right now that you think are important for our version to remain in the movie?
The setting in the first part of the movie, where it's like the ninja kind of, their training school, or I guess the home. But beyond that, there's not too much else that I really want to keep. Well, no, because a lot of, right, like Beverly Hills Ninja, like it was set in Beverly Hills. There's a lot of commentary on Beverly Hills. I feel like there's so many new places that are not more relevant, but like that we could comment on now that would be funny and probably things that haven't been done before.
That's honestly true, but would it then be a remake of Beverly Hills Ninja? Like, you can have sequels, spin-offs, and anything.
In terms of, like, the plot, like, if it's it could be like in my head I was thinking, okay, well, socially awkward, sheltered person comes to, you know, going after the honeypot. I actually kind of wanted to keep that a little bit. I like the idea of someone who has, like, had no social interaction just being completely swept away by some, you know, in my head I was thinking like a gender swap. So I was like,
I have a couple gender swaps in here.
Yes. Okay, me too. Some, like, you know, debonair gentleman and just completely, you know, ready for a change and ready to not live that way and, like, ready to find... with Chris Farley, it was more so about, like, trying to prove to himself, right, that he wasn't a screw up and that he was the one that the legend was talking about. Does Chris
Farley, in the movie as it exists, think of himself as a screw up? Because I feel like the answer is no. I feel like he is.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he sees himself that way.
But I think the movie, it felt like they were trying to... Okay, no disrespect at all. Because I think Chris Farley is a fantastic comedic actor. And especially, like, the physical comedy and slapstick and all that stuff. But I don't know necessarily if he was, like, an actor.
I think that's reasonable.
You know, right? Like, because, like, that moment...
He unfortunately passed away before we really got to see him get to do actor roles.
Yeah.
In the same way that we've gotten to see Jack Black do actor roles.
Well, not necessarily, like, dramatic or anything, like, still in the comedy space, but, like, for example, the scene, like, where everybody else gets a medal except for him, everybody else gets to graduate and become a ninja except for him. Like, that should have been almost like his driving force, right? Like,
I agree with that.
And we should have seen that throughout the film.
Absolutely.
There should have been moments we should have seen from him, maybe not necessarily through dialogue, but through, like, his reaction where, like, this is my moment to prove myself, or, you know, it is in doing this that I will, like, prove to everyone that I am, like, what the legend says I am. I'm not a script to myself. I think he could have done that, but I don't think, unless you're a trained actor or just someone who kind of knows to do that, I don't think he, you know...
I also don't think the movie thought to do that. I don't think the movie wanted to do that itself. Like, I think this movie kind of existed as largely a fat-shamey, let's watch this guy doing the things he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
He has these weird moments where he's, like, on the ethereal plane communicating with Sensei. Yeah. And he's, like, being, oh my god, this is crazy! Yeah. And it's, like, it's weird, like... I think that you can remake this movie, and I do think it should be set in Beverly Hills because it's Beverly Hills Ninja, but also because Beverly Hills is kind of like the representative of a certain class, I suppose. Mm-hmm. But I feel like this movie can and should be remade without the fat shaming.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I don't even necessarily mind the honeypotness of it all. Yeah. In that, like, oh my god, I'm being drawn into a world I've never even conceived of before. Mm-hmm. And... as long as Chris Farley is whomever is a fish out of water, I think it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like that idea. For me, the setting I had in mind, and yes, I know it then changes it from Beverly Hills Ninja, but I was thinking more Silicon Valley. I think that is a little bit more... I don't say relevant. Maybe it's just like something. It's a culture out there that I don't think has.
I think you can make
been
fun
as criticized as I think it should be.
Yeah.
Like, I think Silicon Valley, the TV show, did a good job, but I think they're like. I think it's like definitely a good setting for a lot of comedy.
Here's my compromise. I think this movie should be set in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
But I think instead of looking for counterfeit plates, it's all about some sort of startup that's been collecting the capital of the different people who live in Beverly Hills. I think Martin Tanley, instead of being a counterfeiter, which, Martin Tanley can be a Silicon Valley guy who's been coming and is completely intending to do, like, the thing that Silicon Valley often does, which is collect capital from a bunch of rich idiots as possible, fail, and then producers keep the money. Mm-hmm. Like you talk about all, like, the WeWork people and everything, and it's like, oh, this company itself is unprofitable and has completely failed, but they paid their CEO millions and millions and millions of dollars. So despite the fact that this person only created failure and debt for tons of people, they are themselves still rich. Mm-hmm. That's true of basically every Silicon Valley startup.
Yeah.
And I think you can get away with it where Martin Tanley knows his product is bad, and Allison Page is trying to prove that so people stop giving him money, because he's going after the Beverly Hills people, and like, so part of the movie would be like, well, who cares if all of the Beverly Hills people give up, like, they lose their money. Oh no, the rich people get slightly less rich. Yeah. But it's also him going after like people where it is in fact their life savings.
Oh, that'd be sad.
Yeah, and we would want to see that guy get taken down.
So that's the thing. When it came to I feel like the casting then all of a sudden influenced a lot of changes to the story, or the plot at least.
Sure.
So I feel like when we get to that portion, like there's a lot to...
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's going to be a completely different movie, low key, but I think the premise is still similar enough, maybe.
Like, it still is about some ninja who goes to Beverly Hills to go rescue a lady who does in fact not need his help. Because here's my other pitch. Allison Page, the character, walks in and says Martin Tanley is her boyfriend. She's trying to take him down. He killed her sister. None of that is verified or evidential in any way, but Haru believes her. So I would like none of that to be real. She's not... I was waiting the whole movie for there to be this big reveal that she was not his girlfriend. She was a business rival. And she was going to find this piece of information, this secret, this thing about whatever Martin Tanley's product is, the thing that made it not work, so she could publicize that so people would instead not invest in his thing and invest in hers instead.
Yeah.
I see her as using ninjas as a weird form of corporate espionage. And that way, A, she has way more agency, and B, you get to have this cool Act 2 twist of, oh yeah, no, none of that's true. And then, like, Gobei could find... Like, Gobei's been saying that this whole time until finally, like, Gobei finally is like, all right, fine, we trust her. And then Gobei gets stabbed in the back somehow. It's like, all of a sudden, then Haru has to convince Gobei that she's bad. Because he's the one that finds out and Gobei doesn't. Something like that.
Okay.
Because Allison Page becoming a damsel in distress isn't very interesting to me.
Yeah.
But, like, kind of revealing that she's the true villain, or even if she doesn't... Even if she's not the true villain, but, like... using Haru in a way that isn't completely, like, even more so, I find that way more interesting, especially because we're familiar with the concept of the honeypot and the, like, oh, attractive woman that needs to be saved, but what if she doesn't?
Yeah.
And I think that's more fun.
No, I like that. And actually, I had something similar when it comes to the plot twist of, like...
Great, please tell me.
Okay, so, one thing I'd like to say, I just want to acknowledge that in the original movie, the boat that Haru supposedly, like, came on was from, I think, Palmdale, Florida.
Oh, was it?
So, yeah.
I missed that entirely.
I never caught it until just recently rewatching it for this, and I realized, oh my god, this is like a whole Florida man thing. Like, that's what all of this is.
Okay.
So, in my head, I was like, okay, I kind of want to do that, but I want it to be a girl, and I wanted her to be from the Bay Area. And, okay, so anyways, it's an Asian girl. But she's Asian American. Okay. Right? And it's like a boat of tourists. Her parents are like a cruise ship, sort of, is what I was thinking. Gets onto the island. They accidentally leave their child, right, as a baby. And, of course, the ninjas adopt her. I don't know if I want to do co-ed. I hadn't decided if it was going to be co-ed or if it was going to be primarily girls. But basically, the new Haru, was, not coordinated. She's not coordinated. And this is actually where I split. Like, do I want to do, like, the traditional path where it's, like, she's not coordinated? Or do you think it'd be more funny if it was a predominantly, like, male space, but she's just a girl, and so they wouldn't let her, so all she could do is just, like, help around the dojo? Well,
it depends what you want the story of the movie to be. Like, it could be, like, she could be a failed ninja, or she could be someone who isn't allowed to be a ninja but picked it up anyway. If you're doing someone who wasn't really allowed to be a ninja but picked it up anyway, it's basically the story of the sister from Shang-Chi. Which I didn't love, but that's a separate story. But that is kind of that story, as opposed to anything.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with either story. Yeah. And I actually have two casting for Haru. I have a lady and a dude because I didn't know which way we were going to go. But basically, like, I will cede to you whatever the origin story is. Okay. But I like the idea of keeping the legend says that an outsider will come in and, like, do all these different things, because I really like the idea of that legend existing, and then I want to get to the end of the movie and Haru being like, Is it true? Did I fulfill the legend? What legend? The legend of the outsider who gets to be the greatest of all ninjas. I'm like, that's not a real legend. We made that up for tourists. So that when tourists come to visit, they can be like, oh, I'm the great ninja. And like, how do you think we got all this gold?
Oh, God. I love that.
It's like,
that's so funny.
And I just like this twist of like, yeah, anybody's the outsider. It's fine. If you believe you're the outsider, great. Your stay will be $14.50 a night, or whatever it is.
Oh, I love that.
And so the idea of it being a cruise ship and someone being left behind from a cruise ship, even better. Fits it so much more. Okay. Love it. And because, like, of course, a cruise ship from Florida would somehow make its way to Japan.
Well, that's the thing. That is the thing. It wasn't even a cruise ship. It was like a rowboat.
Look, sometimes you gotta go places.
Yeah. And that's also partially why I wanted to do Silicon Valley, because I was thinking, like, logistically, like, a boat from California going to Japan makes a lot more sense than from Florida to Japan. You know? It's like, well, how did that happen? But Florida man can find a way. So maybe that's just not a question.
That is, in fact, what Florida man does.
It finds a way.
I feel like it doesn't need to make sense. It's just kind of like, Ninja Clan got a baby. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to do a movie now.
But I wanted the basically premise to be about...
On the cruise ship, Florida. Sorry.
Wait, what is that?
The Good Ship Lollipop.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar. That sounded somewhat...
It's a real Shirley Temple kind of song.
Animal crackers in my soup. That's what you meant. Animal crackers in my soup.
I think it's the same song, but
that's the melody.
Yeah.
That's Shirley Temple.
Yep. Sorry, continue.
No, it's fine. But no, I wanted it to be like a shy, reserved, socially awkward, super sheltered, but wants to go see the world, or at least experience the world, whose gifts don't match up with what the dojo requires. Is kind of where I saw that going, but because of that, she feels like, a failure. She doesn't have much confidence in herself. She doesn't believe that she has much worth because, again, it's like her gifts, wrong place, so she doesn't feel valued. She feels like she has no value.
Absolutely. And then this person comes in and doesn't recognize that and sees all of a sudden like, oh, I believe in you. And so all of a sudden she's so full of like, oh my gosh, someone believes in me. I can't for a second let them doubt that I'm as good as they think I am because someone believes in me for the first time in my entire life.
Oh, I like that. I was going kind of... I went more honeypot way, where it was just like a really attractive guy comes in and
bonus,
she's
they're
like,
also
wow.
really attractive.
Yes. Yeah, yours adds more depth. Mine was just kind of ridiculous.
I mean, either way.
Really hot guy. Oh my God, I want to impress him. Oh my God, he needs my help. Let me yeah.
Absolutely. Both things are valid.
Yes, yeah.
Both things can be true.
Yeah.
Someone believes in you for the first time in your entire life. And also, oh my God.
Yes, because he was planning on setting her up. And that was why he believed in her.
Well, she was why he said he believed in her. Yeah, because clearly... And that's even the end of Act 2 twist of like, oh my God, why would I ever believe in you? You're clearly a screw up. Thank you for failing your way to success. I'm now going to go be rich and a bad person now. And it's like,
yes.
And then Act 3 is like, I'm going to kung fu fighting show him. And then everything goes nuts and hooray. The Joey, Chris Rock character from the original movie is like, yes. But you taught me and I'm okay. It's like, no, everything I taught you was bullshit. But no, we're going to go do it. And it's Haru and Gobe and Joey. And they're going to go show them that all three of them are legit ninjas. Well, one of them already was, but the other two can be too. Something like that.
That works. But here's the thing with the Chris Rock character.
Great.
Right? It's like, how do we fit that character in? And that was something where I was like...
Because theoretically this movie is fine if Chris Rock's not there. Like, literally, Chris Rock brings nothing to this movie.
Yeah. And not to be
other
disrespectful.
Than just being the Chris Rock of the movie.
Yeah, and he was funny. So I was like, okay, well, I like the idea of her having, like, an American person to help her out.
Absolutely.
I felt like Chris Rock played a little bit, not saying that he himself, but, it was kind of like the lazy black employee, kind of like that trope a little bit. And I was like, okay, definitely don't want to do that. Yeah. So in my head, I was like, okay, what if it is... I also had this one gender swap too, but like someone from a lower income class who is at like a, higher end school like UCLA or USC or whatever, and this is a job that they do to like, help pay that way, but like they keep getting in trouble because they're going off to study when they should be working or something like that. And then the other thought was that what if Haru's character comes to the hotel, gets rejected, meets this person on the street, and they're an exotic dancer, right? And then
okay.
And then it kind of ends up being like what you said, where it's like the exotic dancer takes pity on this girl. She takes whatever money this girl has to like stay with her and is essentially sleeping in on her couch or something like that, and is on the hunt. No, maybe.
I have nothing against it. Yeah. I don't think it needs to be an exotic dancer or a sex worker of any kind.
Fun. No, you're right. But I just thought it'd be like kind of funnier because it's a part of Beverly Hills that I don't think you get to see. But I don't know. Do they actually have?
Not in Beverly Hills. Certainly right outside Beverly Hills.
No gentlemen's clubs?
That's
Nothing?
True. I'm sure there are gentlemen's clubs in Beverly Hills, though I certainly do not know where they are. I can tell you where to find a good Bristol Farms.
Okay.
And I can reminisce with you about a bagel shop that used to be there that was really good and pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I can tell you where my dentist is.
Okay.
But
okay, that could also be another option where it's like maybe she's working.
But I'm trying to think of someone who would be just so like someone who works at Beverly Hills, stuck there. But theoretically, we can go some way where it is someone who works in Beverly Hills and isn't very good at it, and kind of it's kind of the American version of Haru, where I mean, not that Haru isn't themselves American, but like grew up in America. Of like, oh, well, I'm still a bumbling idiot, but I grew up here. Or you could go the other way of it. This is some Silicon Valley child who's an idiot who's just like, yeah, I'm just so interested in investing in like something because like my dad was this great big investor and like he made all this money, but like I can be like that too and I can make even more money than my dad. It's like, oh, buddy, no.
That'd be interesting to have it be like kind of a trust fund child.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're working maybe at like a minimum wage type job, or even not even minimum, like some Beverly Hills high end.
But then we also get to have them be, by definition, incompetent because they grew up rich and never had to learn how to do anything, and therefore they don't know how to do anything.
I like that much more.
And all of a sudden we have, and I didn't necessarily make it a black guy, but like you have just like a similar level of incompetence, but now you can kind of see it being like, yeah, of course this rich schmuck's incompetent.
They've never had to really work.
Yeah, and of course they're dazzled by the exoticism of like, oh, you're from Japan? Yeah. No way, tell me more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And it's because it's like, for the Haru character, it's like, oh my god, someone to believe in me. I've only ever had one person do it before, and that person's a honeypot. And for the Joey character, it's like, oh my god, someone to hang out with who genuinely doesn't care about my money.
I like that. You know what it makes me think of is Big Hero 6. Do you remember? Did you ever watch that movie?
Yeah.
Where but you don't know he's rich until he takes them to his home. But he's like the totally like laid back, almost like stoner type character.
He's the Shaggy character.
Shaggy, yes. He's basically Shaggy. It kind of makes me think of him. Whose dad turns
out to be Stan Lee.
Yeah.
That was so weird.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if we want to go multi-billionaire route or just like a typical old multi-millionaire. But
so that's where you can throw in all of the LA jokes, because like theoretically it's like, oh, Beverly Hills Ninja, because I feel like that translates internationally. Whereas if you went, oh, Hidden Hills Ninja, we'd get it, but that's it. That's a good point. And you could have like, well, we used to live in Hidden Hills, but now just think of us as being, we're south of Ventura. Oh, okay. We know what that means. And just like, it's just the LA jokes for all the LA people, and everyone else is just like, I don't know. I feel like as long as Joey isn't a caricature, I think we'll be okay.
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
What kind of technology do you want Martin Tanley to be trying to sell to get people to buy into? If Martin Tanley is going to be our Silicon Valley bro.
I was thinking crypto.
I mean, honestly, that is a good reference to the original of like, Martin Tanley is here with a brand new currency you've never even heard of.
Yeah.
And that's because you're not cool enough to hear about it. And it's like literally selling. That's great. Like literally he's selling his brand new. Okay, I'm going to tell a story.
Okay.
So day job stuff is like, I would go do computer assisting for a lot of different people. And I've had multiple clients, because I work in finance, be like, so like, what do you know about crypto? I'm like, it's a scam. And they're like, oh no, but really? I'm like, it's a scam. And I got hired one time to go help this guy get better with computers. And I swear to God, what he wanted me to do was his son had told him about this brand new crypto. And this is a guy who like had a bunch of guitars on his wall. Like he clearly used to make a lot of money from songs. Like he mentioned like, oh yeah, I made money from this song. So like he had money. And he was like trying to get to invest in like the crypto that his son was into or something. And I don't remember what it was called. But basically, the number of hoops we had to jump through to give money to this organization was we had to register with this bank that no American banks recognized, had to figure out a way to wire money to Germany.
Oh my God.
And it was all these different things. And I was like, and I was the whole time being like, it's a scam. He's like, yeah, but I'm going to do this thing. It's a scam. Yeah, but and we would go to the next step. Yeah, but it's like literally it wasn't until we got to the point where we had to blindly send money to this address with no receipt.
Oh my God.
That he was just like, I think this is a scam. And I'm like, yeah. And like all the crypto works by like they're mining for bits and all this different thing. And like this one mines for bits in the adult film industry.
Oh. And
like literally the logo for this crypto was like red something. And it was like one of the like, it was like Red Bubble. It's not Red Bubble, but it was like if the two B's in Bubble were like boobs. And it was just like, it was just crypto mining for bits in adult films. And it was like, okay. You want us to send our money where? It was very strange.
Also, I feel like mining for bits. There's a pun there.
I would say there is a bit there.
There's a bit. Yes.
But yeah, so like honestly, coming in to sell a brand new currency, like yeah, crypto's the way of the past.
Yeah.
This is Futuro or whatever it is. It's like selling a new currency to rich idiots like Joey. Chef's kiss. Perfect.
I feel like also thematically, like that kind of goes with what Haru is experiencing, right? Because, I mean, it has whatever value people place on it.
Yeah.
Right? If people agree that it's going to be worth something, it'll be worth something.
Yeah.
And this is a person who's trying to convince people that it is worth something. So, and then here we have Haru, who's just like, I've been convinced that I'm not worth anything. So I think that would be an interesting, like,
and then we get to have the Al Page come in and be like, okay, great, I want to get this away from my evil boyfriend who's using it for no good, and I'll get it back to prevent him from being able to use these bank account numbers for evil. And then Al Page is just going to rob them. But it'll like everyone will think it was Martin Tanley who robbed them, but no, Al Page will be like, no, oh yeah, it was definitely that guy. Bag of money, $, runs away.
What do you think if it was not necessarily a partner, but like this guy Martin is the like CEO and Al Page is like the CFO who would take over should anything happen or should the
that
CEO
works for me
be
too.
caught? Yeah, okay.
That's fine. I'm good with that. And I'm okay with them having a supposed potential like romantic relationship that Haru is jealous of, and then you find out that Al Page was using both of them. And I'm not just saying that because I saw A Fish Called Wanda for the first time last night.
It's such a good movie, isn't it? Like, I love it. And this is no disrespect at all. I just didn't know. My introduction to Jamie Lee Curtis was Freaky Friday.
Sure.
I didn't realize she was supposed to be like a hottie until my roommates told me as we were watching like A Fish Called Wanda, and then they were like, didn't you see, what was the movie, True Lies? And I was like, yeah, but I thought it was supposed to be a joke.
Or Trading Places?
Yeah, but again, I didn't realize she was supposed to be... I mean, because in my head, she's Freaky Friday Jamie Lee Curtis, you know?
That's true, so but like in Trading Places, she plays a sex worker, and you basically just get to see her in a thong.
I didn't realize I was supposed to find that attractive. I'm not saying she wasn't attractive, but I was just like, the marketing in my head was...
we've learned in this podcast that what you're drawn to is long, luxurious hair, and that's not Jamie Lee Curtis's vibe.
That is... fair. But no, I'm saying she is quite attractive. Like, I recognize
you get
that
it now.
Yeah, I get it now.
You had society had to convince you that this particular thing was attractive.
Like boobs. Yes, because truly elbows are the attractive part of the
and body. That is what God intended.
Amen. That's why elbows are allowed to be exposed in every culture almost, sort of.
In nearly all cultures.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Elbows.
Definitely over 50%. But yeah, so in terms of like plot, is there anything else we're missing? Because like I think a lot of the stuff that we can keep is like Gobe secretly like helping out and like being in disguise throughout that. Like it's great, top notch, no notes.
Yes, completely want to keep that in there. I think though that Gobe should be like the sensei still sends Gobe after
absolutely.
Haru, I think Gobei is not necessarily an antagonist, but is part of why Haru doesn't believe in himself.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because it's like, one, the comparison, but two, Gobei kind of goes in on Haru not belonging there, or like not being, not necessarily all the time, but kind of like a sibling thing, you know? Because I think that was something we didn't really see.
Yeah, I could see more sibling rivalries a little bit, because like certainly Gobei was frustrated with Haru.
Yeah.
But like you could also clearly see that they cared about each other, which I liked.
Yeah.
I can see more sibling ribbing and rivalry, but I don't want it to be like mean.
I think it wouldn't be coming from a place of like Gobei wanting to be mean. It would be more like, every time Haru messes up, it's Gobei's job to clean it up. Or there's so much extra burden placed on Gobei because Haru's incompetent, and that puts a level of tension, but Gobei still has Haru's back. Like, no matter what. Like, that's,
so
you know,
my
like,
suggestion,
Gobei would protect Haru, but...
My suggestion for that would be,
No,
towards the end of Act 2, like, Gobei's been getting more and more and more frustrated with Haru all of this time, and then finally, towards the end of Act 2, Gobei explodes and is like, I've been cleaning up your mess this entire time, you've been making all these different mistakes, and now all of a sudden, obviously we have this great chance to, like, help out this person, and now all of a sudden you're not gonna finish the job? Just go get the thing, and Gobei's the one who, Haru failed to get like the list of people or whatever from Martin Tanley, or from the Martin Tanley's like assistant guy, and Gobei like loses his, like, I can't believe you failed at this one simple thing. It was right in front of you. Now I'm gonna go do it. And then Gobei goes, gets the thing, goes and gives it to Al, and then like walks past Haru on the way. It's like, great, it's done now. We can go home. And now Haru is like all like devastated. Like, I can't believe, like, not even Gobei, my sibling doesn't even believe in me anymore, all these other things. And then finally, beginning of Act 3, it's like, oh my god, I was also betrayed by Al Page. And then Haru has to convince Gobei to go with her to go stop Al Page, and Gobei's like, no, I'm going home. It's done. It's over. We did the thing. And then Haru's like abandoned by like the one family, and then Gobei finally like getting on the airplane is like, no, I have to go take care of my sibling, and goes back.
Do we keep the spiritual plane?
No. No.
Yeah, it kind of came out of that was
no, we have cell phones now. You can just call them.
That's true. That's so true.
Unless you want the spiritual plane?
No, it was just some really campy thing that it definitely didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it had no place in this movie.
Yeah.
It was some weird mysticism bullshit.
It's true.
So that they could throw so they could just throw them through windows.
Yeah.
No. just fucking call. It's fine.
That's funny. What if they had like a ninja app?
Great.
Okay. You really hated the ancestor plane or spiritual plane.
It's so dumb.
You say.
Like, just like, if you're gonna have a ninja app, you have to have a ninja app, and it's just called big N, little J, little A, just ninja.
Oh no. Okay.
And it's like, and you have all the different things to like communicate and talk to them, and then in the middle of it, you accidentally activate Fruit Ninja in the middle of the ninja app. And so now it's like, oh no, I'm having, like, are you playing Fruit Ninja while you're talking to me? No. Oh, dragon fruit, nice. What'd you say, Sensei?
My backup, or not backup, my initial thought was just calling it N app and then nap. It's not as well thought out as yours, but it's just, I thought it was stupid.
I mean, look, if we're going to be dealing with Silicon Valley, there's nothing wrong with ninja.
That's true. No. I think yours is more well thought out than mine.
It's not that well thought out.
Well, you already have like jokes with it. I was just thinking it'd be funny if it was called Nap.
There's nothing wrong with that. Oh man, what was the movie? There was some movie. Oh, it's Futurama, where they were doing something with the rights to people's like likenesses, and they were doing a spoof of Napster.
Oh, okay.
And then ended up being Kidnapster.
Oh.
And I don't remember what the rest of the joke was. Like, they were literally just kidnapping people and just, like, selling their likenesses and, like, making copies of them. Oh! I think it's the episode with Lucy Liu.
Oh, cool. I've never actually watched Futurama.
I recommend it.
A lot of people do. I need to... Yeah. Oh,
yeah. But yeah, okay. So we have Nap. Is there anything else you can think of in terms of plot? Because we kind of have this... We've danced around. We've done kick flips and tuck and rolls all around it. We've thrown stars and swords all around the plot. Like, if you take all the things, we kind of have, like, what the movie will be.
Yeah.
Pratfalls, people hurting themselves, all that stuff, making fun of Beverly Hills absolutely as much as possible, and making fun of, like, stupid rich people bullshit as much as possible.
Okay. In terms of plot, I mean, do we want to, like, finish this movie? Like, what happens to
Tell
Haru?
me.
Okay, so I was thinking, like, the double cross happens, right? Because they find something that, like, sets the CEO up for failure, and it's revealed, like you said, that, like, you know, Al Page was behind it the whole time. And in my head, I'm thinking it's because they wanted the position, they wanted the job, and to make the billions or whatever that was going to be made. And something happens where Gobei is caught, and it's up to Haru to save Gobei from Al Page, as well as to undo what's been done and bring Al Page down. Craziness ensues, you know? Maybe Joey is part of, like, how that person is brought down and brought to justice. I think Haru, after, like, coming out victorious out of all this, Gobei learns that they were wrong for being mean
to their sibling.
Yes, and I think Haru ends up staying in this new place. Maybe not this new place, but, like, finding where they belong and where their gifts are.
Well, you set up for the sequel.
Yes.
Florida Ninja.
Oh my god.
Of Haru going on a journey to find the people who left him behind after the cruise. Of, like...
Which I think would be in Silicon Valley. Because I was thinking...
Great.
The casting, you'll understand why maybe after we talk about that. But, yeah. Could be the Bay Area, or it could be Florida. Maybe they go to Disney World. That's the magical place.
Well, that's exactly as, like, we have this image of Haru climbing the mountains to find the people who left him behind.
Yeah.
And the mountain he climbed to the top of is Splash Mountain.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or the Matterhorn.
Okay.
It's like, and that's our last shot of, like, I'm going to explore and find anything.
And Disney police tackle him.
Yes, absolutely. Or her.
Or her, yes.
And we also get to have this moment of Joey being like, no, it's great. I'm so inspired. Like, I am going to be a person just like my dad, and I'm going to go out and make my millions and billions too. And in fact, I found someone who's able to help me. And we see on the phone that he's talking with Al Page. It's like, no.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's just fine. I just have to wait for him to get out of jail.
Which will probably be in 2 to 3 months, because that's how things work for the rich.
That is correct.
Yes.
Good. Cool. Let's talk casting.
Yes! Okay. Sorry, because, like, in my head, I've just been, like, everything is... not messed up, but, like, I led with casting in my head.
That's
and
what everyone
it probably
does.
should have been, like, more plot. But the more I was like, oh my god, this actor would be amazing, and if we do that, then we do this, and then, yeah. Okay.
That's how most people write. That's how everyone writes. Like, you think of the character, and then you create the world that you want that person to inhabit. And if it happens to be that person, great. But if not, so be it.
Okay.
So I think we're settling on Haru being gender swapped, right?
Yes.
Great. So tell me about who you have for Haru.
Okay, I was thinking Kelly Marie Tran from the new Star Wars movie. She was also the voice of Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon. She was the one that received a lot of that hate from Star Wars fans.
Kelly Marie Tran is a gem and should be treasured, and people who say negative things about her, that is one of the biggest red flags because they're monsters.
Yes, totally. But I like her because I think she's charming. To me, she's just, like, naturally charming.
Absolutely.
But I think she could do, like, shy, reserved, awkward, socially awkward, grow up very sheltered. And I'd be interested to see, like, what she could do with comedy, you know, to see if she has that. Now, I realize that's a risk because it's like, if you've never done comedy, you don't know. So that's why I was like, my other option would be Brenda Song.
Who's definitely done comedy.
Definitely done comedy. I think she's never been given a chance to do so. Well,
for people who don't know who Brenda Song is.
Oh my god, Disney Channel queen.
Yes.
She was Like on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, she played the rich one. She, London Tipton. And then, of course, Sweet Life on Deck. She's done so many Disney Channel movies where she was always the best friend because Disney just would not have her play a lead. And then finally, she did get her play a lead in Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior. Yes, but again, that was like kind of like what you said with like Asian men. It was like it had to be in a martial arts setting.
Yeah.
She couldn't just be like Lindsay Lohan's character in Get a Clue or Stuck in the Suburbs.
She also was the crazy girlfriend in Social Network.
Yes. And she had a couple episodes in New Girl as well as in Scandal.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I think she's grown up. I think we can see her in some grown up roles, and I know she can do comedy, and I know she can do.
I think she was a voice in Amphibia in
I never saw that one.
Amphibia is a cartoon series.
Okay.
And I'm 100% positive she was a voice. Yeah, she's the lead.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's the voice of the lead in that. She's great.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, so I think she would probably be the one I'm more certain about because I've just seen her career for ever.
Cool.
And I know she could do that.
So I leaned very heavily on the idea of it being an outsider, someone who's not Japanese.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Brenda Song, by the way, is Korean.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have someone later. My Gobe is Korean.
Okay.
No, I considered someone who was Korean, and then I went with someone who is Japanese. Never mind.
Okay.
I'll come back. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
So especially because I really, really liked the joke I came up with of like, well, of course it's an outsider. We tell it to all the tourists, and I just think that's a dumb joke. And so I went with an actress who I actually first saw on a TV show called Taskmaster.
Okay.
And Taskmaster is this British show where they like have different comedians like competing in random tasks and everything. And this actress is very young, but also very, very funny. But I've since seen her perform, and she had a role on the British version of the TV show Ghosts.
Okay.
And she was also on Miracle Workers. And
in the American version, Miracle Workers?
I'm not aware of there being a non-American version.
Okay. Who was she in
Her name is Loli Adefobe.
Oh, yes, I know her.
Yeah.
She was also, oh gosh. No, because I saw her in Miracle Workers, and then she was in something else that I was watching. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I should have just not said anything. Because I can't
We can look it up.
Okay.
She was in Shrill.
Shrill. She was the best friend who was lesbian, I think.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen her in Shrill. I was watching Shrill and Miracle Workers at the same time.
She was in The Spy Who Dumped Me? I don't think I realized that. Anyway, she's very funny.
Yes.
And she also kind of like fits the non Hollywood iteration of attractive or whatever you want to call it. And I just thought that like she would be very funny because like we've seen her be very funny. Like she plays awkward very well. That's what she does in Ghost. That's what she does in Miracle Workers. She has an amazing sense of comedic timing, and we know that she's funny.
Yes.
And I thought that she would be a good choice.
I would watch that. I think that would be interesting. I was kind of leaning towards still having Haru be an outsider culturally, I guess.
Sure.
Maybe. Because it's like not, even though she's Asian, it's like not certain that she's Japanese. You know? So I think I still intended for her to be
treated. A racist audience will be able to tell the difference.
Well, hopefully people will know, but I think it'll.
I mean, it is funny where it's like, oh, like so you're a ninja, you're Japanese, right? I'm Korean. Like there are definitely jokes built into that are good, and I appreciate it. Let's not decide on this until kind of like we see where everything goes, because obviously we're gonna go with your Al Page, because I went with a lady because my favorite joke in the whole movie was where am I gonna find an attractive blonde lady in Beverly Hills, and then 4 different walk by. So I cast an attractive blonde lady, who. I know from Ghosts, the American one. She's also the lead in iZombie. She's in a bunch of like Netflix Christmas movies. She was a Power Ranger. And her name is Rose McIver.
Okay, I think I know the American Ghost, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay,
She's the lead in American Ghosts.
I feel like you're missing out on A Christmas Prince. Is that not most what she is known for?
Here's the thing about growing up Jewish.
Oh, okay.
I don't really give a shit about Christmas. Okay. And I never will. And I can't think of any reason why I would ever watch a Christmas movie.
I mean, A Christmas Prince was making the rounds, not necessarily for its holidayness, but for the other stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but but you're not the first person to say, like, this movie!
Yeah.
And that's great. I'm happy for you. I hope it brings you much joy.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay.
She is in A Christmas Prince.
Yes.
As the blonde one.
Yes. The main blonde one.
Yes. Apparently there's like a whole Netflix Christmas cinematic universe kind of based around her character.
Yes, that's why it's so great, because it's so bad.
So because of that, I thought she'd make a good Allison Page.
Okay.
But because,
okay, so we're going like
no, but because that was my casting. Mm-hmm. But who are we actually going with?
Okay, I was thinking Honeypot for Allison Page. And
for Al Page.
Al Page, yes, sorry. Dev Patel.
Oh, great.
I still wanted to keep him British, and I was just like, yeah, I'd lose my mind for Dev Patel. I'd completely forget common sense.
It is, I mean, and all the great pictures of him have that long, luscious hair.
Luscious hair! I needed it to transfer from Robin to Dev, and I'm just like, look, it's going to be part of the outfit. It's necessary that you have the hair grown out.
Great.
Sorry, Dev.
Dev Patel is who we're going with, because we're going with Al Page.
Yeah, I honestly think he has that, like, very suave, like... like he could make you believe he's like this genuine honest guy, and then at the same time flip on you like a James Bond villain.
You're not the first person to come onto this podcast and say that Dev Patel is attractive.
Oh, good.
And you will not be the last. Okay. Like, Dev Patel is a goddamn smoke show.
Yes, he is.
And it must be acknowledged.
Yes. I thank you. That's all. I just wanted to spread the word.
So who do you have for Gobe?
Okay, so for Gobe, I was going to have that be switched out as well, gender swapped as well, and I was thinking Gemma Chan.
Okay, great. Tell me why.
Why? Because I think she has something about her that comes across as a very disciplined. I think she could do that role well, where like she's the favorite child, she's the one that always follows the rules, she's the one that's striving to be the best. You know, I think because there's that pressure of the sensei being her parent.
Absolutely.
It's like, I am going to live up to your name. But because of all this extra responsibility that my dumbass little sister or half-sister or whatever is, like, bringing upon me, it, like, I could see her play that very well.
Yeah, and she would be good at that.
Yeah.
I also gender swapped Gobe.
Okay.
So I went through 3 different people, and I dismissed 2 of them for different reasons. Mm-hmm. My first, because I try to find, like, non-A-list people. So the first person I found is this actress named Ko Shibasaki, who was in 47 Ronin, and she's in, like, Battle Royale. And she's a Japanese actress who also can do, like, fight choreography and action, which is great. She does not speak English. And I was like, okay, that I can find someone else. Mm-hmm. And so then I was like, well... What about the actress who plays Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies? That is an actress named Pom Klementif. Mm-hmm. Klementif? I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. And she's half Russian, half Korean. Okay. And I dismissed her because she's Korean, not Japanese. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up landing on Tao Okamoto, who I think I first saw originally in The Wolverine.
I didn't see that.
You don't need to.
Okay.
She also has a role in Westworld. She's in Batman vs. Superman. She's Mercy Graves, which is Lex Luthor's assistant. And she's kind of had, like... So I say assistant roles and, like, different things because she's been in all of these different things and, like, has had fight choreography and, like, and it is, like, stunt trained or whatever. And, like, we don't think of her as being, like, a big star, but, like, she's, like, a majorly famous supermodel in Japan.
Okay.
And we just, like, don't know about her here, but, like, she's getting to be in Hollywood movies, too. And so I was like, oh, Tao Okamoto. So kind of, like, the same sort of thing with...
Robin
Shu, yes. Shu or Xiao. Probably Xiao. I'm sure you're right that it's Xiao. Robin Xiao. Of, like... I mean, obviously attractive. And Gemma Chan, also gorgeous. But, like, someone who... And Gemma Chan also has the fight choreography. Although, I believe... Is Gemma Chan Japanese?
No, she's not.
So I would, but in this case,
struggling. Yeah, I was struggling to find a Japanese actress, and I was like, "Well,
it is tough. Yeah. This is a hard show to do, and like when we're not casting directors."
I know.
So for that case, I would push us towards Tao Okamoto.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a really good idea.
Which brings us to Sensei. It's kind of only one person to cast for this, or did you not cast this person?
I cast Robin. I wanted Robin for this because Robin Xiao.
Oh!
Because I was like...
Oh, great, yes, done.
Even though he's not Japanese, I was like, he has to come back to this movie. I just wanted him back.
Yeah, great, okay, done, sold.
Wait, who are you thinking?
So, there's kind of only one person who's also been in the Wolverine, and he was in something called the Twilight Samurai, and he's in, like, Bullet Train and the Twilight movies. He's, like, the go-to, like... 60-year-old Japanese actor. It's Hiroyuki Sanada.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about.
He's been in basically everything, but I mean, we're not acknowledging it, but like, yes, obviously Robin Shout is the correct choice.
I-
Like as soon as you say, I'm like, yes, obviously, absolutely, perfect, of course,
Yeah.
sold,
Okay.
good. So let me tell you about my Martin Tanley then.
Okay.
I went with someone. So for me, it was important that like my Al Page and my Martin Tanley both be white for like the reasons, because like no one else in my cast is. But Dev Patel's better. But for my Martin Tanley, kind of needs to be a white dude. So I went with a guy who has been in some of the whitest movies: Sky High, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Succession. And that is an actor named Nicholas Braun.
Who was he in Sky High?
I don't know who he is in Sky. This is a great moment for me to
Nicholas
look.
Braun.
It sounds like you also have not watched Succession.
I
I haven't
watched...
either.
Oh, okay, good.
Like also me.
Okay, good.
In Sky High, he's Zach, which I assume is the lead kid.
Wait, can I see his picture? Because I could just pull him up.
I'm always nervous about turning my laptop around and
totally
accidentally unplugging stuff.
Nicholas Braun. Because I think I have an idea as to who this person might be.
Braun is spelled Braun.
I was going to say, if it is who I think it is, I mean, it wouldn't be through any fault of his own, but I might have an issue with him.
Great, please tell me.
Oh, this guy. Okay, no, it's not him.
It's not the guy who plays Mr. Darcy?
Oh, not Matthew McFadden. No. No, but the one who is like, because I saw an episode or two of Succession, and it's the guy who's kind of the nephew or something who needs a job, and he's like kind of connected, but like doesn't really know what he's doing, and is just trying to make money. I thought it was a different actor. From
In Succession, he plays Greg Hirsch. And again, I also haven't seen Succession, so I don't know how in the family he is.
He's not in the immediate family. He's an extended, like,
Got
hey,
it. Okay.
This is your rich uncle. Go get a job from him.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he plays that very well.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
So that's why that kind of actor, that kind of guy is who I was thinking for Martin.
Okay.
Who did you have for Martin Tanley?
So I was thinking, in my head, I was like, this would be Al Page's brother. And I really wanted Naveen Andrews.
You want, as opposed to potential love interest?
Yes. Because I was like, in my head, I was like, Martin and Al built this company together, and Martin is getting more of the like accolades, and he's the CEO, but Al wants to take over, and he needs help bringing him down.
So what have you seen?
That was a double cross.
What have you seen Naveen Andrews in?
Oh my gosh! Okay, Bride and Prejudice.
Okay,
which is not what he's most known for. He's most known for Lost. He was most recently in the Elizabeth Holmes limited series with Amanda Seyfried. He was
someone named Sunny Balwani in
yes.
The Dropout.
The Dropout, thank you. Yeah, he was the male lead, I would think you would say, in that one. But yeah, Lost is mainly what he's known for. I love him in Bride and Prejudice. He's so charming, and he dances, and he's so sweet. He's not Mr. Darcy, but Mr. Darcy's friend in Pride and Prejudice. Who is Mr. Darcy?
I don't know. I'll look it up. Hold on.
Mr. Darcy, Colin?
Bride and Prejudice, which is, it sounds like the one you're talking about. He plays Balraj.
Yeah, Balraj. But he's, which is an Indian version of Mr. Darcy's friend who...
But he's also in Pride and Prejudice?
No, he's not. But it's based off of Pride and Prejudice.
Got it.
Yeah,
so is this a Bollywood movie or no?
No, it's not. It is Bollywood style, but the director is actually an Indian British woman.
Oh, that's fun.
And she mixed a lot of like American, Bollywood, and British folks to make this lovely little
what a
campy
great
film.
Idea. Her name is
Gurinder Chadha.
Yes, it is.
Yes. I love her because she also did
Bend It Like Beckham.
Bend It Like Beckham. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's been out here.
She's
been
very
doing
good.
things.
That's great. Okay, good. I mean, for all those reasons and more, we should probably go with Naveen Andrews.
Can you just see them though, like Naveen Andrews and Dev Patel in a scene together? He had such great hair in Lost as well.
We are learning things.
I'm sorry, but I also just think they would make such wonderful. They're like, don't you ever just see actors and you're like, oh my god, I don't know what it is, but you need to play like siblings, or you need to play like a couple, or you need to, you know. So I felt that way about like Raven Goodwin and Amber Riley, and I finally got to play.
I think it muddles everything if they're siblings. There's no reason for them to be siblings.
Okay, well, because I'm just thinking in terms of like the venture capitalist world, it could be a conflict of interest if they're in a relationship.
I thought that like.
Or in the starter.
I was pitching that was just a lie that that
Oh,
he
okay.
told Haru. Like,
Okay,
I don't think
okay.
it's actually true.
Yeah.
For our version, it's just like, oh yeah, no, I told you lots of stuff. None of it's true.
Okay.
Like, they're not in a relationship, they're not this, they're not that. It's just like, oh yeah, no, I told you whatever I thought you needed to hear to get you to do the job for me.
Got you. Okay.
But yeah, no, I don't think they need to be siblings. Like,
Okay.
I think it's perfectly reasonable to have 2 gentlemen of Indian descent, possibly even 3. Who knows how we're going to be going in the next couple of roles?
And they're both Indian and British.
Without them needing to be related.
Yes.
Like,
okay.
they can just also be in the movie.
Okay.
So, who do you have for your Izumo? That I think is the name of the bad guy assistant that Martin Tanley was also talking to. It was like Martin Tanley's friend, but also the kind of his enforcer. Did you cast that role?
I did not, but I do know someone that I think would be good. I would probably pitch Ronnie Chang. Ronnie Chang, he was in Crazy Rich Asians. He's on the Daily Show regularly.
I know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very funny.
Yeah.
That is fair. I would not see him as an enforcer.
I think he would be comedic.
There's a whole thing where, like, the enforcer shows up at the end. Like, he's the muscle.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Martin Tanley, the bad guy's number 2. Like, the guy who, like, goes and beats people up for him and kills people for him.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, in my version, I guess, okay, I just want to make sure. I was thinking of him as, like, a badass, like, martial artist type guy.
Yeah, and I don't think that's Ronnie Chang.
No, I think so, because it's like you wouldn't expect it because you expect him to be the funny idiot.
Yeah, but then we're taking a guy who's, like, just an Asian guy and expecting him to know any form of martial arts, and that's not fair.
No, that's right.
And that's not his vibe at all. He's a comedian.
Right. No, I know.
The guy I cast is a martial artist.
Okay.
He is Asian. He was in Mortal Kombat. He's in Shadow and Bone. He's in something called Fistful of Vengeance, which just sounds like a great name. It's the actor Louis Tan.
I mean, we're obviously going to go with yours.
Yes. In this case,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the only other character I have, like, cast
is Joey.
Actually 2. Joey and then Will Sasso's character.
Oh, I did not cast Will Sasso's character.
Okay.
So let's talk about Joey, and then you'll just tell me who we have for Will Sasso.
Okay.
Which is not his name in the movie.
That's not his name in the movie. He plays the obnoxious car salesman that was working with Martin Tanley's character.
He plays the person that can do the same impression as Chris Farley.
Yes.
And so they both do the same impression, and they both play kind of the same character. And it's very weird, and there's absolutely no reason why Chris Farley should know any of the references he makes while playing that character. And I don't even know if we need that character, but we're going to cast him anyway. But let's talk about Joey first.
Okay. For Joey, the only person that I could think of was Keke Palmer.
That's fair.
Yeah. I thought she would do a wonderful job of playing, like, that, like, student who's trying to kind of work their way up, which is originally what I had in my mind. If we're going with that route, though, I still think she can do it because, like, maybe we kind of flip on the audience, like, where it's like you meet Keke Palmer thinking she's not, like, you know, well off or whatever, and then she's just like, oh yeah, I mean, welcome to my humble abode, and it's like this mega mansion or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe, but I would need to think about that more because I don't.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The person that I have for this role is someone who you kind of see as he has played the incompetent sidekick before, but in a way that I find very charming and very amusing. I've referenced the show Other Space on this podcast before because no one's ever seen it and only I've seen it, and good for me.
Yeah.
But this is an actor who's been in Other Space. He's also in Miracle Workers. This is an actor named Karen Sony.
Yes, I loved him in Miracle Workers.
Yeah.
He was so good. He would definitely do well.
So,
in
like,
that.
he's a good goofy sidekick.
Yes.
Like, he's kind of a perfect goofy sidekick.
Yeah.
And so I think making him the new Chris Rock would be very funny.
Okay. I'm for it.
Great.
I think he's charming. I like him.
So I don't have anyone for the Will Sasso character. Please tell me who we're going with and why.
So, honestly, I just thought that the Will Sasso character was probably the most recognizable, like, not recognizable, but, like, he made so much out of his small role. I think that even though, like, plot-wise, like, we'd have to mess around with it, so it wouldn't be someone that, like, our Haru would, like, replicate.
You can make him be the programmer. Like, instead of the person who runs the printing press, he can be the person who programs the fake crypto or whatever.
Yeah. I wanted to cast this as, like, an homage to Chris Farley. I was thinking either David Spade, Adam Sandler, or Chris Rock, you know? I kind of thought that would be...
Well, we definitely can't do Chris Rock because he's
because
obviously in the first one.
Yeah.
And then I don't...
Or no, we're doing Robin Shaw.
We are, but
it's different, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want David Spade or Adam Sandler anywhere near my movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? Well, I know David Spade is apparently like kind of a nice person,
kind of a
but
trash person. Adam Sandler's fine.
Yeah.
I got nothing against Adam Sandler personally. I just don't care for him.
Oh, okay.
I think especially if we're going to be casting something, I hate A-list cameos.
Okay.
Because that's a role that's like, you could have given some unknown person a time to shine and be like, oh my god, did you see blank person in this like little role? Mm-hmm. They should get to do more things. And it's like, oh hey, Adam Sandler was in this movie.
I mean, it's more so, the reason why I thought of them is because they were just such a tight-knit group.
Yeah.
You know? And
sure.
It's just like, when you see them and like knowing this is supposed to be a remake of Beverly Hills Ninja, it's like, I kind of wanted something that would pay tribute to Chris Farley.
I think that's fair, and I think that's reasonable,
yeah.
and I have nothing against that.
Yeah.
But I don't like them.
Okay. Okay.
David Spade especially.
Okay.
And I also don't care for Adam Sandler for other reasons.
Okay. And I don't think Rob Schneider would be great.
Rob Schneider is so problematic.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's so right wing.
Okay.
Like there's a whole Maggie Mae Fish video talking about like, here's the things Rob Schneider has said out loud with his mouth.
Oh no.
He's bad.
Okay.
And then kind of along that line, David Spade is like kind of just a problematic womanizing asshole.
Okay.
And then Adam Sandler is also Republican, but is like the kind of like low-key Hollywood Republican of like being like, he's Republican, but he doesn't out loud say it at all.
Okay.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with being Republican, except for all the things that are wrong with being Republican.
Okay. Did not know that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Will Sasso should go to some comedic person who's on their way up.
Okay.
Tell you what, here's my pitch for Will Sasso. It's going to be the male version of Haru that I didn't have, because we're going to do a female version.
Okay.
And that is an actor named Zach Cherry.
What's he done?
In The Legend of Shang-Chi, he's the one with the phone going like, you guys aren't going to believe this thing I'm seeing on the bus.
Okay. I vaguely remember, I definitely remember the scene. I don't remember the guy who said it, but that's okay.
Like I said, he's a comedian who's on his way up. He also had a role in Severance, which I didn't watch.
Okay.
And he's one of the new, like, two comedic, not judges, but hosts of the American Baking Show.
Okay.
And I think he's an amazing host for that. It's him and Ellie Kemper.
Okay.
And just the two bouncing off each other seems very funny, and I feel like that would work.
Okay. But what do you... Because, I mean, I would think it would be nice to pay tribute to Chris Farley in some way.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But I feel like casting people who are problematic is not the way to do that.
Got you. So what are you... I wanted to ask you, like, what are your... I know it's your show, but I wanted to ask you a question. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I feel like you pay homage to Chris Farley by having the people in the temple reference the great ninjas of the past. And you reference the people who were... truly wonderful and did amazing work as ninjas, and you have one person, another person, Chris Farley, and some other person.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how you pay tribute to, by saying, hey, here was this person who was a great ninja, he did all this amazing things. And that's how you pay tribute to him.
Oh, I like that idea. I think that'd be a really good idea, especially if it's like if all the ninjas, like, their faces are covered, right, except for their eyes, and then you just have the one in the white outfit.
That's
and it's
very
like,
funny. I didn't think about that, but that's also very funny. That's a good joke. Yes, that is also good. I like that too. Good. Or it's like him in his pimp outfit.
That would be funny. This was like a really tough movie to do.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to be. I was just like, oh my god, it's such a fun movie.
With the nature of the comedicness, because I feel like a lot of the characters need to be a little bit more serious around Haru. I would push us towards Lolly Adefope for Haru over Kelly Marie Tran. Or, over Brenda Song, if that's okay.
Okay. Well, because I was just thinking, I guess in my head, I was thinking that with Chris Farley, everybody else around him almost was the straight man, because he was such a big character.
Yeah.
Versus I was like, well, I don't know if we're going to go that route. What if everybody around, not everybody, but like a good amount of characters. But I guess you're right. I think it would probably be easier to keep Haru as like the funny one.
Yeah.
And like have
of
more
everyone
ones.
we've cast.
That's true. There are no like real funny people.
There are no funny people. So I feel like we have to go with
him.
Like, and not that Brenda Song isn't funny, but it's not that kind of funny.
Yeah.
So that's why I would push us towards Lolly, if that's okay.
No, yeah. I'm for it.
So that brings us to our writer and our director. I cast 2 separate. Do you have 2 separate or do you have a hyphenate?
2 separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about writer.
Writer. I wanted to go
Other
with...
than us, obviously.
Yeah.
We would write it.
Yeah, definitely. Adele Lim was someone that I thought
I don't know who that is.
She worked on Crazy Rich Asians, and there was another one.
She did Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yes. And I follow her on Twitter. I think she's such an interesting person. Her story is interesting. And also, I think she has a very strong presence. I don't know if you remember the story about how she co-wrote Crazy Rich Asians with another male writer, and he was offered 10 times more what she was offered. I think he was given or something. And he graciously was like, I'll share my thing. But she rightfully was like, no, like, this is devaluing of me and my contribution, and we're doing the same job, but they felt it was like okay to do that. So she actually left like the sequel because
I do remember that.
Yeah,
which is crazy because like she created it. Well, she adapted it.
Yeah,
yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
Hollywood's great, everybody. So great. We're probably gonna go with her. My writer is a guy named Tom Gormican, who wrote The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. He worked on the show Ghosted, and he's currently working on the new Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh.
And I thought that was just kind of like a funny tie-in.
Uh-huh.
Like, he definitely does comedy and that kind of comedy very well, clearly.
Okay.
Because Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is great, but Adele Lim is the correct choice.
Okay.
And so then let me tell you about my director.
Okay.
I wanted someone who could do, action. Like modern action, fun action, and could do it in a way that is funny. And so kind of the go-to for that is like, oh, well, who's the guy who was the director for Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and also directed Walk Hard, and like a My Spy remake. And I mean, for God's sake, he's Lawrence Kasdan's son, and that's Jake Kasdan.
Oh, wow, okay. He also did Ghostbusters Afterlife, right?
I think so.
Yeah. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I want someone who can direct action.
Yeah.
And like, obviously you're going to get a fight choreographer and like stunt people and stuff, and I don't know anything about that or how to look that up. Mm-hmm. But in terms of directing it, like, he did good action in these other things.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I haven't seen the new Jumanji. The original one was like a movie that I wore out, on the VCR. Sure. So it was just like, it took me a very long... I'm finally getting to a place where I can finally, I think, watch this movie. Uh-huh. But I did not see it, so I can't...
It is good.
Yeah, I think it must be, because... Yeah. And,
Well, who did you have for director?
For director, this is someone who, in my head, I was thinking needs to be really good at comedy and, like, needs to be able to find the comedy in every scene, as well as, like, to be able to tell a story about a lot of heart. Right? And so for me, I was like, Bruce Almighty, Patch Adams, Liar Liar, Nutty Professor, which I think people overlook how much of depth there is to that movie. So I went with Tom Shadyac. Shadyac? Shadyac. I think it's Shadyac. He has just done so many classics in my opinion, because for me, early 2000s and the late 90s, especially because Nutty Professor is a movie that I watched so many times, as well as Bruce Almighty and Liar Liar. He's so good with comedy, in my opinion.
Great. I'm more than happy to go with this guy. I have never heard of him.
Really?
But he's clearly done amazing work, and I got nothing against it. That's great. Okay. Look, I love going with people I've never heard of.
Really?
And everyone's heard of Jake Kasdan. It's fine. Jake Kasdan doesn't need this. Let's give it to Tom Shadyac.
I feel like, I don't know if he's just taking a break or something, but yeah, he hasn't really been doing...
Tom Shadyac has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 projects currently in development.
Okay. That didn't surprise me. Because he's just...
And that's less than Jake Kasdan. But yeah, I don't necessarily recognize a lot of the different things that he's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did Bruce Almighty, he did Evan Almighty. Mm-hmm. Liar Liar is a good movie.
It's fantastic. And it's it's so beautiful, the story that it tells, Oof. That's the thing. What? Oh, Chuck and Larry.
That, and he also directed and wrote Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, which at the time
was okay. Now it's super.
It is not anymore, and was not then, but they didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it's not okay.
I I mean, I don't know what his stance is now. I guess I haven't really looked into him in terms of like a social presence. I first actually was introduced to him on Oprah. When she
has no history of supporting anyone problematic.
No, I mean, I can't say, but I just remember he was there promoting his documentary called I Am. I think after sometime in the 2000s, he was diagnosed with cancer, and he kind of just started to think about like life and like humanity and just like a whole bunch of like bigger questions about the world. And
Tom Shadyac did something. He gave away most of his fortune. He sold his mansion and moved to a fancy mobile home park, and he opened a homeless shelter. Apparently, he's a good dude. So I feel like that's a good reason to go with him.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I feel like if he was the type of person that would have written Ace Ventura, I think he probably had a big epiphany later in life.
Here's hoping, but we will have a conversation with him, and he's our first choice for now.
Okay.
Barring us learning something else.
Yes.
But for the moment, that is Beverly Hills Ninja. Let me take you through who we've got.
Okay.
Our Haru is going to be played by Lolly Adefope. Al Page is going to be Dev Patel. Gobe will be Tao Okamoto. Sensei will be Robin Shao. Martin Tanley will be Naveen Andrews. Azumo, kind of the bad guy assistant, is Louis Tan. Joey will be Karen Sony. The Will Sasso character, who probably has a name, will be played by Zach Cherry. All of this will be written by Adele Lim and directed by Tom Shadyac. That is Beverly Hills Ninja. You gonna go watch this movie?
For the hair alone.
For the hair alone.
I'm just kidding. Yes, I absolutely would. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting. I think the premise was a great one. It just had a lot of, not a lot of well-executed stuff.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's definitely, like, emblematic of the time, and you can, like, if you go in with that, like, there were definitely some real cringe moments, but, like, I was watching this with a friend of mine, and we both, like, found things to laugh at and enjoy.
Yes.
And, like, that's what a movie's for.
Yes.
You acknowledge the period it came from, and then find moments to laugh and enjoy. That's movies.
Exactly.
But we've reached the end of the podcast, so thank you very much for being my guest. And now, please, if you are so inclined, tell people about how they can follow you on social medias if you care about such things, or what you'd like them to do. What would you like an audience to do right now?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I would just say, please go watch Average Joe. I think by the time this episode comes out, it'll be on the air because it's premiering June 26th.
It definitely will. Yes.
Yes, it'll be. Okay, good. So yeah, if you feel so inclined to watch just like a fun, well, it's kind of a dark show, but it's I think people will really enjoy it. It's got a lot of adventure to it, and it's going to be starring Dion Cole. So if you like him and like his kind of weird comedy, he definitely brings that to the show. So BET and BET Plus, people. Average Joe.
Great. Yeah. This episode will come out July 11th, by the way.
Okay, awesome. Perfect.
So yes, is it going to be, because it's BET, so is it going to be like one episode at a time, or is it all going to be dropped at once?
I believe...
I assume if it's on BET, it's going to be...
It's going to be on BET Plus. The first episode is going to premiere on BET, and then I think the rest will be on BET Plus. I think they're trying to do a weekly drop, so...
Okay, then that makes sense.
By then, maybe episode...
So, catch up on Average Joe.
Yeah!
Good. If anyone wants to follow me, if Twitter still exists by the time this episode comes out, I guess you can find me there. I don't really post on Twitter anymore, but at Sam Gasch, SamGasch, or follow the podcast at Ideal Remake on Instagram. But one of the better ways to find us and let us both know how you feel about about what we've done is to join the Dueling Genre Discord, which has a link in the show notes of this episode, and go on and let me know how many copies of Beverly Hills Ninja were in your local Blockbuster when you were growing up. How many times do you think is too many to play? Oh, for our movie, how many times are we going to play the song Kung Fu Fighting?
Ooh.
At least once.
I think only once.
Only once, and I feel like probably over one of the credits.
Okay, I think that'd be fair. But then, do you think that's too similar to Kung Fu Panda? Because they did like that upgraded version of Kung Fu.
Did they?
Kung Fu yeah, over the credits. That's when they played Kung Fu Fighting.
What, opening credits or closing credits?
Closing credits.
Okay, we'll do it in the opening credits, and then it'll end with like Sensei turning off the radio, being like, "I hate that song."
Yes.
Movie starts. Okay.
I love how quickly you got that. That was fantastic.
Join the Dueling Genre podcast and let me know if you agree. So I will end this episode of the podcast the same way I end every episode of my podcast. Semien.
Yes.
What is your favorite quote from the movie Beverly Hills Ninja?
Holy shit-o!
Great.